1 week exactly before the Christmas holiday here, which is, I'm looking out the window and it's bright and sunshiny and beautiful, and it is, I'm sure the weather report says it's blustery because it's been blowing a gale out there today, let me tell you. But it's a little chilly, but no snow yet. It got cold enough and damp enough the other night. I thought it might, but it didn't. Hey, Zandra. Claire, welcome. You're new on this stream? Great. It's great to have you. I've seen your name in other chats, so I just assumed you were just one of the group. So anyway, welcome everybody. I'm glad you're here. It's been just kind of a crazy day already today. We woke up with an absolute jolt. Muppet, in case any of you don't happen to know, Muppet is our little black mixed breed dog who we rescued. We rescued both our dogs. We rescued the cats for that matter. But anyway, that's another story. Anyway, Muppet sleeps, our house has 3 levels. It's a tri-level house. And she sleeps in the lower level of the house in a crate. She has from the day that she arrived here. She has always been in a crate. That's just been her pattern. That's what she's comfortable with. She feels safe in the crate. And at 10:30 at night, she starts worrying about getting in the crate because she knows that she gets her treats. And she gets 3 little dog bones. I make treats for them. And she gets 3 little dog bones. And she, by golly, from 10:30 until 11, she starts being worried about it. She starts watching you, watching you. Make sure that you're not going to forget because 11 o'clock is bedtime on the dot. And you better put her in that crate at 11 p.m. If you are late, you could be early, but if you're late, she just doesn't handle that very well at all. So anyway, she was in her crate last night sleeping, and Sandy, the golden retriever, sleeps in our bedroom, which is up above where Muppet is. And at 6:30 this morning, it sounded like somebody was killing Muppet, and I do mean killing her. She is barking that kind of bark that I'm terrified, there's something terribly wrong bark. I mean, and jolted me out of a sound sleep. If Dee Dee had been here, it would have been no problem because she'd been up for 2 hours, so it wouldn't have been a problem. But for me, she jolted me out of a sound sleep, and Claus Man. And all of a sudden, we're like, what? Well, the neighbor next door was leaving to go to work. And the only thing I can think of is that he was making noise out there that was unusual and that she did not accept at all. And so she just did this, one of those, blood-curdling barks. So Claus Man, being the brave soul that he is, went downstairs and checked it out and let her out of the crate thinking she would, maybe would direct, go find Timmy. It's one of those. Lassie, go find Timmy. It's one of those moments, open the crate and see if she's going to go find the problem, which she never did. She just sat there like a big dolt. So, yeah. Anyway, it was crazy. So that's how the day started. And so I thought, straight off, I thought, well, I'll just go back to sleep. Yeah, well, that didn't happen. So I've been awake since 6:30 and I went to bed at 2. So I haven't had a lot of sleep yet. So if you guys, if I get a little, you'll know why. All right. So my chat hasn't moved for a while, so I'm just going to test it. Okay, seems to be okay. You guys are either listening or or we have a problem. Houston, do we have a problem? Somebody put some chat. Okay, there you go. There. Vicky says, oh, she knows how to wake up. Oh, yeah, she does. I'll be right back. Okay. Yeah, she will. She better not. She better not, Xandra. Xandra says that now she'll be doing that every morning. She better not. She'd be sleeping outside. She'd be sleeping with the fishes. Ah, crazy. Crazy. Crazy dog. Okay, so that's how the day started. It occurred to me that maybe some of you did not know where my blog was, or my website, that you might not have visited there. So I thought, I'll show it to you, because why not? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at my website for a minute. So when you go to HowToGetCreative.com, you'll see it right up here. Okay, you see the web address right up there, HowToGetCreative.com. This is the landing page. This is where you go. Okay, well, some people are lurking, and so we won't call them out, just in case somebody might be listening. So anyway, this is the website. And so you'll see the banner up there, which scrolls through and shows all different kinds of things. When you go on down the page, when you scroll on down the page, you'll see all of the previews for a bunch of the posts, the most recent posts. Okay, so that's what you see here as you scroll down. And then you can see all the blog posts and so forth and so on. So this is the front page of the website, HowToGetCreative.com. So I want to take you over to this one, because this is the one I posted today. And this is the Journey Within 2016, a Year of Handmade Art Journals. So this is a class I've talked about for the last... Hi, Arvitara. Arvitara? Is that your name? Is that what... You tell us what you want us to call you, and we will do it. And I'm so glad... Hi, Pam. I'm really glad that you've joined us. That's great. Thank you for coming. Let's see, who else? Anyway, I digress. This is a live recorded, just in case I didn't tell you, which I don't think I did. This is a live recorded show on Ustream at the moment. And so there's a live chat. So that's who I'm talking to. And when I look away from the camera and all of that, and I look away from what I'm doing, I'm talking and looking at the chat and talking to the people in the chat. So there you go. Okay. Meanwhile, let's go back here for a second. Okay. So here is the post I put up today, and this is about the Journey Within a Year of Handmade Art Journals. I'm one of the teachers, and so if you scroll down here, you'll find information about it, when it starts, and so forth. And today was my day on the blog hop. And so what happened was, on this blog hop, is each of us that were teachers gave Kyla Givehand is the curator of the class and the teacher of the class and the coordinator and the whatever. She put all the teachers together. When I'll be teaching, I think it's April is when I teach, I have a class there. And she'll be teaching every month. So she is going to teach you how to do an art journal every single month. And I don't think she's here yet. I thought she might be. So each of us had to give her a challenge. And so my challenge was today, and my challenge was to use stitch or thread 3 different ways. And she said, oh, that's going to be a challenge. Well, it's like, that's why they call it that. They call it a challenge for a reason, right? So I decided to play along too. And so this is my challenge page that I did. I'll show it to you close up here in just a minute. But this is my challenge page, and I did use stitch 3 different ways. And so I'll show it to you close up here in just a second. Of course, you've got places where you can learn more to click and sign up. If you just decide that you want to do the challenge or the challenges, you can tweet photos at Barb Owen Designs, or you can leave a comment here and Kyla will be able to see it if you're doing that. If you scroll on down a little bit further, okay, why aren't you scrolling down here? Okay, hello. All right, hold on a minute. My computer is not talking to, one computer is not talking to the other one for some reason. All right. For some reason, my computer is not talking to my other computer. Technical difficulties. Well, anyway, okay. Let me just tell you. I'll just tell you how it goes, because for some reason the satellites in the Ethernet are not linking up at the moment. So I'll just tell you what the rest of it was. I was going to scroll down the page and show you that there were the other teachers that are participating in the blog hop, and you can click on their links. It'll take you to their site so you can see who they are. And then I have this comment or this thing here that says, I have the privilege of giving away one seat in the class. To be entered in the drawing, leave a comment below before December 21st at noon Eastern. That is Monday, okay? The winner will be announced before the class begins. So what you have to do is scroll down to the bottom of my page where there is a comment section. You need to leave a comment there. And then you will be entered in it for a chance to win a seat in the class. Okay? Time to call on my son. That's right, Lisa. He should be here. Where is he? He's working today, I'm sure. So anyway, it doesn't matter. It's all, it's working fine. Here's the thing about technology. It's working fine and then it stops. Don't you love that? Anyway. So if you want a chance to win a seat in the class, you have to go to my blog, and it has to be at HowToGetCreative.com. Go to the, click on that little preview window that says, whatever it says. It's the first one. It's the first one in the list. It says, I'm teaching in the 2016 Journey Within. That's what it says. Click on that, and that will take you to the post. Leave a comment. It's got to be before Monday, this coming Monday at noon Eastern. And if you leave a comment, then you'll be entered to win a seat in the class for the year. Okay? So don't forget that. All right. And that's the end of that. That is the end of that. Any questions? Any questions? If you do, let me know. I'm going to move this other computer out of the way. So, give me just a second. I got too many computers on my table. Okay. So, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we're going to keep on crack-a-lacking here. So I'll show you that journal page in a minute, but what I really want to show you right now is I got the happiest of mail yesterday. It came, I don't know when it came. I got it out of the mailbox yesterday. Could have been here earlier, but I got it out of the mailbox yesterday. So it came in this pretty little envelope with a beautiful card, tag card. This is from Xandra. Yeah, from Xandra. Hold on, Carrie, just a minute. I just saw that. I don't know what got censored, but okay, Carrie, try again. Is there somewhere you can go to learn how to use Google+? I really don't know. I don't know. Post a link to... Oh, thanks, Carrie. Thank you. Okay. So this is from Xandra. This is the card that she sent. I'm assuming she made this. I don't know. Of course, why wouldn't she make it? Because Xandra makes everything and it's beautiful. The quality of what Xandra does, it's Xandra Scraps to Beauty is her channel name for Ustream and also her blog. And if Carrie, if you have her blog address, or if Xandra, if you're here and want to put it in, you're welcome to do that. But this came from Xandra, and it is beautiful. It says, Barb and Claus Man, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Hugs, Xandra. P.S. You got one of these because you liked my tweet. I'm telling you, I like tweets just because I like tweets. Not because I expect anything. Hey, Miko. So that was the card. And this is what she sent me. One of her cookie cutters that she decorated on her stream a few weeks ago. And it's absolutely, I mean, it really is stunning. It really is stunning. Okay, her Ustream channel name is Xandra17. Sorry, I said the wrong thing. Xandra17. But look at the bottom. Look at the box. This is the cookie cutter. I mean, adorable. Xandra, thank you so much. It just is, it is absolutely adorable. I'm going to give you a closer view. Oops. Okay, this is really zoomed in. Let me back out just a little bit. But I want you to be able to see the detail. I mean, what she does, and I'm not just blowing smoke. What Xandra does is incredible. So she has vellum in the back. She's got vellum on the back of this cookie cutter. She's got a tag on here, signs her work, dates it. Little tiny Christmas tree, which is adorable. She's got trim around the outside. She has snowflakes, little tiny snowflakes. I don't even know where those come from. I didn't know you could get snowflakes that tiny. Snowflakes that she's put on the vellum, which is can you see the designs through it? Because it's designed, there's designs on the vellum. She's got flowers, like a little ho 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 flower with a little gem in it, a little tiny burlap covered tiny rocking reindeer, a beautiful little tree with a star and flowers and everything that she does in a ribbon bow over here at the side. And everything she does is such quality. It's amazing. These are a punch. Okay, these little tiny snowflakes are a punch. They are adorable. So that's the Santa Claus cookie cutter that she did. And then the outside is painted and antiqued. And I watched her do some of these, but I didn't follow the whole process, so I'm not entirely sure. Adorable. Adorable. And then she sent this as well. And it's a binder clip. Okay, so it's a, sorry, the sunshine is starting to stream in my window. We're just going to have to put up with it. We just got lots of sun here, and it just comes in on my table and starts making obnoxious sun streaks. This is absolutely adorable. And it's a binder clip, and she painted it. She put trim on it. She put a little teeny tiny Christmas tree on it, and flowers, and little bitty beads. And that is too stinking cute. So I'm thinking I'm going to set this on my desk, and I'm going to put a note in it. I don't know what she had in mind, but I'm thinking that that would be a pretty cute thing to do, have it sitting on my desk. So I don't know what Xandra's intention was for these, but I thought that was great because I love having something like that on my desk that's cute, that has hi, Marion. So I have, something that will hold a quote or whatever. I just think they're adorable. So, yeah. So Zandra, thank you. I was so surprised. She kept saying, haven't you got your happy mail yet? It's like, I didn't know I was getting happy mail. Yes, it's for a note. Okay. I guessed right. I didn't see you do these. I saw you doing the cookie cutter, but I didn't see you doing those. I don't know if you did those on camera or not, but anyway, it's really, really sweet. I didn't know I was getting happy mail, so I wasn't watching for happy mail. I wasn't watching. Those little tiny trees, honestly. I mean, those are the tiny, look at those tiny trees. Cute. So thank you. Really. That was very sweet. I'm a terrible happy mail person. Xandra knows this, and she has sent me countless, truly, I've lost count of how many things Xandra has sent to me. And all I can do is show off what she does because I don't get anything sent in return. How sad is that? It's just the truth. Nothing but the truth. I know. Need to start now for next year. Unfortunately, that probably... there was this thing that somebody sent one time. I can't remember who sent it. But it was talking about... The gist of it is... today's not your day and tomorrow's not looking good either. That's like the end part of the thing. Yeah. Bye, Miko. Okay. So, all right. Enough of that. I keep losing my train of thought. I'm telling you, lack of sleep will do this to me. So I'm going to show you the journal page that my computer screen got stuck on a minute ago. At least it got stuck someplace that was decent. So this is the journal page, complete with the nice streak of sun flowing over it. Sorry, I was catching up on the chat for a minute. Hi, Lynn. Great to have you here. So the whole point would be, if I didn't get it done this year, it's not looking good for me to get it done next year either. That's the whole point. All right. So here is my journal page that I did. This is in my Strathmore Mixed Media Vellum Surface. This is 5.5 by 8.5 inches, and it is series 300. So it's their better series, the 300 series. So anyway, what I did here, because the challenge was to stitch 3 different ways, and I'm going to show it to you this way, and then I'll put it under the real close-up camera so you can see it that way as well. And so what I did, I took a page out of this journal, just, a white page, took it out, cut it down, and worked just on that much. So the page I was working on was slightly smaller than the journal itself. And the background is done with gelatos and stamping. I don't know if you might be able to see some stamping close up here in a minute. Hi, Di. Packer Di says, it's the first day of Christmas break. Pray for me, people. Hi, Pavla. No, that wasn't Pavla. That was Pat Van. Sorry. Hi, Pat. I just glanced and said the wrong name. Is Pavla here? Let's see. As soon as I find my mouse. No, she's not here. So, Pavla, if you're watching the recording, Merry Christmas, my friend. So, anyway, what I did was I did the background all in gelatos, blended it with my finger. I gessoed first. I gessoed the piece of paper first because it's not real thick. It's about 90-pound paper, I think. Yeah, 90 pounds. And as you can tell, I have de-spiraled this. I saved the spiral, but I de-spiraled it so that I can work on the pages flat because I use this in the classes on HowToGetCreative.com. And so that's one of the big reasons that I've de-spiraled it. I don't mind getting paint and crap, glue and stuff in the spiral, so that doesn't bother me, but it's just easier for me to work in a class that way. So what I did was the gesso, then I did gelato, several colors of blue, one color of red, and just blended it with my fingers and a little bit of baby wipe, action to kind of blend the colors together. Did some stamping and a couple of different colors of archival ink in the background. I stamped the word joy, which is from a Donna Downey set of stamps, and that's in archival vermilion ink. So that's scattered around. And then the tree is created from scraps. And so I used a die that it was a fabric cut die. It's one that will work with the Big Shot or Big Kick, but it was designed for fabric. And it's all the same size circle, and it's this circle right here, like the orange circle, and it makes a whole bunch of circles in one cut. And so I cut that with the die, and then I just hand cut the rest of them because I didn't want them all looking, too pristine. And that was the only die that I had that was, anyway. So I hand cut all the rest of them. I have this great big scrap box of fabric, and so I just cut random circles, built a little tree. I used glue stick to stick them together temporarily because I arranged the colors the way I liked them. So I did glue stick to stick all the collection of circles together, each stack of circles. So they're just stuck together in the middle. And then I went to my sewing machine, and I had these buttons, and I machine stitched the buttons on to each set of circles. So when I was finished with that, then I pulled the threads to the back side of the little circle stack, and then I cut off the excess thread, and then I glued them onto the page. This is another piece of fabric right here, and this is hand stitched on. So one method of stitching was the buttons, the second one was hand stitching, and the third one was after I was all completely done with the page, then I machine stitched a couple of times around the edge of the page, okay? When I was finished with that, then I came back to the journal and selected the page where this was going to go, and I used a different color of gelato. Actually, I used the same color red down here at the bottom, but didn't blend it out as much because I wanted to be a little deeper. So I did some red down here and a different color of blue, kind of purpley blue around the edge. And it's only painted in about that far on the page. And blended it, dried it, and then I wrote the words to "Oh Christmas Tree" around the edge just to have some journaling, because I always like journaling on my pages. And so I wrote a little bit of journaling around the outside, and pens don't like gelato, and so that's always a challenge to find something that will write over it. And then I digress. I stitched the inside page to the outside page. You can see the stitching back here, or the top page to the back page. So yeah, I jumped ahead of myself. But anyway, you get the picture. As Paula, as Journal Artista would say, you know what I mean, Vern. All right, so I'll give you a little look-see. So I actually stitched the top page to the back page, okay? So you can see the buttons are stitched. I drew little tiny stars in the spaces. So I drew little tiny stars. I did some scribbling around the outside. Here you can see the hand stitching to hold the trunk on. And that is that. And then I did some little doodling in the background because, when in doubt, dot, I'm telling you. And then down at the bottom, I dated it and signed my name. So that is my challenge. My rendition of the challenge that I gave to Kyla. And so you can see a little bit of the journaling around there. Okay. So that's that. If you have any questions, so some of the gals in the chat are saying, thanks, Lynn. Some of the gals in the chat are talking about the fact that they love sewing on their pages or sewing in journals or whatever. And I do too. I love combining fabric and paper. That is one of the things I absolutely love to do. And when you combine fabric and paper together, you can easily use your sewing machine. It's not that you can't use your sewing machine with paper by itself, but it makes it nice and easy when you have fabric involved, because sewing machines are built for fabric. Thank you, everyone. If you have questions, be sure you put them in caps in the chat, because otherwise I sometimes don't see it, and I don't mean to ignore you. Next week is Christmas Day on Friday. I know that probably just struck terror in the hearts of anybody who hadn't figured it out yet. But next Friday is Christmas Day. I will not be streaming on Christmas Day. I love you people. I love each and every one of you. But I'm sorry, I'm not streaming for you on Christmas Day. I'm just not. But I may stream for you on Christmas Eve. It depends. I haven't got it solidly worked out yet, but I may stream on Christmas Eve making sweet petals, which is, we've done it 2 years in a row, so therefore it makes it a tradition, right? Yeah. It must be a tradition if we've done it 2 years. So check on, I'll try to tweet on, and if you don't follow me on Twitter, it's at Barb Owen Designs, BarbOwenDesigns, Barb Owen Designs. And so I would probably, I'm going to say I'm 80% sure that we'll stream sometime Christmas Eve evening. I can't tell you when, because I haven't got all the details worked out yet. Sweet petals are my family favorite, and the reason it's called that is because it's built to look like a rose or a flower when you put them in the pan. It's my one big sin of the entire year, because I typically, for the most part, I don't eat grains or wheat, which wheat is a grain, obviously, but I don't eat flour products and bread and stuff like that. So it is like my big sin. So it is a yeast dough, and they are created in little pieces that you roll in butter and cinnamon and brown sugar and white sugar. It is sinful, totally sinful, let me just tell you. So, hi, Linda. And anybody that I missed. Who else did I miss? Sophia came in. Hi, Sophia. And let's see, did I miss anybody else? If I did, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for joining me. So anyway, the deal is, watch for me Christmas Eve. I'll try to do that, but we'll see. The whole thing has to go downstairs. My kitchen is downstairs. I stream from my studio, which is in the middle level of our house. So we have to set up something downstairs in the kitchen to be able to stream from there. It ends up to be a bit of a challenge sometimes. So you can't beat butter and sugar. That's right. Ask Paula Dean. Ask Paula Dean. Add a little butter. Okay. So I'm thinking that what we need to have are maybe a quick little thing in case somebody needs some small gifty kind of thing. Who am I kidding? I need some small gifty kinds of things. This stream is for me, people. This is for me. I just have to be, sometimes you got to be real. Just got to be real. All holiday food is sinful. Isn't that the truth? Welcome back, Miss Miko. Welcome back. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I thought we would make some bookmarks. So I will show them to you so you can see what I'm talking about. And it even comes with the lovely Midwest sunshine streaming right across. We have streaming sunshine and streaming Barb. So we have some bookmarks here, and I thought that I would Well, hey, Rain, come join us. Rain, we'll give you a whole new tradition around here. I've changed traditions so many times over the last few years. I don't even know what our tradition is. I don't even know anymore. Okay, let's do something fun. So these are pieces of jelly print fabric on black cardstock, and I've used some charms that I've made, and they are stitched. I don't know whether you can see the stitching. I'll give you a closer look. How about that? We'll take a closer look. Again, complete with the streaming Midwest sun coming right in here. All right, so this is jelly printed fabric. I'm not going to jelly print fabric for you because I have plenty of it. Vicky's making presents as I speak. Okay, good, good. I am real, and I am real, Rain, that's right. So that is the jelly printed fabric. It's on cardstock. Perhaps you can see the stitching back here if I get it in the light just right. It's on black cardstock. Fibers through the hole that I punched. I did not put an eyelet in. If you want to be fancy, you can put an eyelet in the hole, but you know what? I'm not that fancy. And then the charms are charms that I made, and so I thought I would show you the charms that we're going to use. Okay, so there's that one. Here is the other one. Now, there are going to be various renditions of something like this. And so you could even do these with just, you know, it doesn't have to be jelly printed fabric. It could be fabric that you slapped some paint on, scraped some paint on some muslin, put some stamps on it, and let it dry, and then you've got some fabric that you made yourself. So it doesn't have to be jelly printed. Miko has jelly printed canvas. That's great. Cool. So this is another one of the charms that I made. So let me show you some of the other charms I have here. So here's some more. I'm really sorry about the sun, but that, you know, it's just the way it is. If you want to wait a few minutes, I'll have to stand up and go tape up. I need to change hands here so you can see it better. I'll have to stand up and go tape up the blinds where the sun is coming in, because it requires tape to stop this lovely little streak coming in here. Okay, so those are the charms. Let me see if I'm as close. That's as close as I can get. So those are those. Thanks, Sophia. Sophia loves the bright colors popping against the black. Thanks. All right, so there's some. Here's some other ones. So these are all charms that I've made. I'll tell you about them here in a second. So those are all charms I've done. And then these are some other charms. You guys remember what these are made from? Anybody know? Anybody? And here's the other side of each of those. You like them? Thanks, Ring. All right, so we'll chat a minute before we get started making bookmarks. They're not a lot of time. Once you have the components, like, you don't even have to make your charms. I just like to make them because I like having my own stuff. You don't have to make them. You can use Tim Holtz charms. You can use, you know, any kind of thing you want. So the place that these came from, okay, these are all based on patterns in my mandala book. So I'll show them to you. Of course, you'd think that I would have had the sense to, like, mark them ahead of time. Okay, this is one of them that I showed you right here. And this is an ebook, which I did this, sorry, just got myself. Okay, so this is the ebook that you see in the chat. And if you're watching the recording, all of the links that I talk about will be listed below in the description box below the video. So if you're on YouTube, click the Show More box, or click the word Show More, and you'll see it expand. You'll see the links. If you're watching it on HowToGetCreative.com, just scroll down. You'll see it below the video. Okay, so this is one of them that I used. What else did I use? It's an ebook, so you can print them out. You can resize them as you wish. Okay, here is the rose. So that's the rose. So these are mandalas. They're designs that I drew. And there's probably another one. This might be the other one. Yeah, this is another one. And then the compass rose, I used it as well. So I did this before the coloring book craze hit like crazy bananas. So I was ahead of the curve for a change. Yeah, this is the other one, the compass rose. Okay? So anyway, that is what I did. Those were the basis. That was the basis for the charms. And these are done right here on shrink plastic. So that is what I did to create the charms. These right here are dog tags. Okay? Dog tags. As in dog, as in hound dogs, and they come in different shapes. And so they're covered with my paste papers or jelly print papers. Okay, so that's how I got my charms. So from there, we're going to start. Like I said, you don't have to have charms that you made. You can use charms that you buy. Let's see. So let's get some jelly print fabric here. So I have some. And I have my trusty scissors. So you've seen me do some of these jelly print fabrics on stream or what have you. So these are just all different kinds of jelly print fabrics. Scraps, and some of them are in various stages, are more done than others. This one I actually used for something. I covered a book with it or something, and then I ripped it off. So, I mean, that really is a scrap. And here's some other ones, some other bits and pieces of things. And so we're just gonna make some bookmarks and go for it. Okie doke. Can you print on the shrink plastic? I have only ever seen people stamp on it. You have to have the right kind of shrink plastic, and if you do, you can. Yeah, dog tags. All right, so let's just take some pieces and let's make some bookmarks. And I don't pay any attention, literally, to what they're going to do, and the bookmarks are going to come out the size that they're going to come out. Okay, that's just the how of it, as my son used to say. And I apologize if that was really loud, but I prefer to tear things than I do to cut them. All right, so we've got one. And I'm going to make them different sizes. Two. Okay, that's enough of that one. You're welcome, Sophia. You are welcome. I'm looking for places that have kind of a variety of color in them. But I do like the torn edge, so I'm going to clip and tear. And And it always amazes me that fabric with paint on it tears, but it does. Is the tearing too obnoxious? Yep. Use that expression, that's the how of it. We've used that for a long time around here. And even things like this. The other day, Ella was talking about saving scraps and throwing scraps away. I have to be honest with you. I will save a scrap like this. Yes, yes I will. Because you just never know when that little scrap will come in handy. Let's see if I can get 3 out of this. All right, let's rip this off because this isn't very pretty at the bottom. And when it starts raveling, when the threads start raveling, I just clip them off. The paint does help keep them from raveling too much. So I'm going to see if I can fold this roughly in thirds so I can get 3 out of this. So I'm just kind of playing around with, doesn't have to be perfect. Perfection is highly overrated. Yeah, it's good ribbon. Absolutely. Okay, now over here I should have raveled this on the rest of the way, so just because I've got it kind of fringy looking in this section, but it didn't fringe down here, so I just pulled a thread or two to just kind of make it look kind of fringy. Okay, how many do I have of these? 2, 4, 6, 8. I have 10. Okay, so we'll make 10 bookmarks. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? All right. So let's find another piece of fabric. This one is pretty ugly, I have to say. This particular piece is pretty ugly at the moment. It needs a lot of work to finish it, and so we're just going to rip a piece off and make bookmarks out of it. Because if things are not attractive, well, make something else out of it. Don't struggle over it. Just let me do this over here. Okay. So I'm going to clip a piece so that I know where it's going to start ripping. Fringy, that's right. Fringy, ravelly, you know what I mean. Sorry, dropping stuff on the floor here. Okay. All right. Any questions? Put them in the caps. All right, I'm just going to use this as my guide. And I may end up cutting more of these than I need. These are bookmarks, CB. Hi, CB. And then maybe we'll just make that a longer bookmark. Okay, so let's do some red. Just looking for where I want to rip it off. Maybe let's just start over here and get a decent It's okay to have longer bookmarks. So yeah, all right, so we'll do this. And that. Rain says, every time someone asks, are there any questions? I always want to ask, do you love me? Yes, Rain. Consider yourself loved. That was funny, Rain. 3, 4. Okay, this white piece down here is ugly, so we're going to rip that off. Okay, now just so you know, Ella, I'm not going to save that. I will throw that away. I had to laugh the other day when Ella was streaming. She's Create with Ella. And when she was streaming, she was giving Xandra a hard time about the scraps. Or Xandra was giving her a hard time. I don't know which, but it was pretty funny. Okay, so there we have that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I think I want to do maybe 1 or 2. I may substitute some of those with some of this blue. So let's do some of this. Okay, so I'm going to throw all that. I'm just like Eleanor Burns. Those of you that know Eleanor, have ever heard of Eleanor Burns, I just throw all the stuff on the floor. Like somebody else is going to come clean up after me. You know what I mean? Which doesn't happen. Because guess what? I'm the one. I told my husband, told Claus Man the other day, I need a wife. He was quite puzzled by that remark. But I said, I need a wife. And it's true. I do. All right. Yes, Andrew was giving you the hard time. Ella, I think you were giving her just as much of a hard time. Yes, I think you were giving her just as much of a hard time. All right, there's that one. And that one. And that one. Okay, we have choices. I like choices. Yes, yes I do. Here are our choices for bookmarks. There are no brownies that come in to clean at night. Nope. No, there aren't. If there are brownies that come in and clean at night, I should fire them all. Yes, I should fire them all. Okay, so what I have here is black cardstock. Nothing fancy. Just plain old black cardstock. And so what I'm going to do is figure out about how wide I want these. And they will continue to ravel sometimes, depending on... It depends on how much paint is on them. The more paint you have on the fabric, the quicker it will stop the raveling. But it gets to a point where it does stop. Or, you know, you wish it would. Okay. My ruler. Barb, remind me of that duck cloth muslin or canvas. Is that duck cloth muslin or canvas? Vicki, more information, because I'm not sure. This is all, this that I did, this is all muslin, if that's what you mean. This is all muslin, heavyweight muslin. Yeah, duck cloth works okay. It's just so heavily textured that I don't get the detail when I print on duck cloth. I mean, it's perfectly fine to print on, but you don't get as much detail because it is more textured. It is muslin. Yeah. I have to throw it over my shoulder. That's right, Sue. Throw the scraps over my shoulder like Eleanor did. Okay. So let's take a look, see at how much. Okay, 2 1/4 inches wide. So that's what I'm going to cut, or 2 1/8 or something thereabouts. So I just have my cutting. What do you call this thing? Cutting thing. I have my cutting thing. Okay, let's go for 2 1/8. And let's see how that looks. I have my Fiskars cutting thing. That'll work. Okay. And I'm going to cut it about, so this is how scientific I get. I'm just holding it, measuring it, and cutting it off. All right, now, because these are going to be different sizes, in an effort to keep them together, here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do. To keep them together as we go, I'm going to use glue stick. It's nothing special. It's just plain old glue stick. And I'm going to run some glue stick right down the middle. Now, I don't want to go too far because I'm not fond of sewing through glue stick, although I have to admit that I have done it. And you do have a little bit of working time, so if you get it on here crooked, you can pull it up. And there you go. Okay, so that one is now going to be held together. Now you can get as fancy with these as you want. You can edge the cardstock with ink, with metallic inks and all kinds of things, or you can just do what I do, which is just hold it on here and figure out. Sorry, I'm trying to get my cutter up here where you can see. Okay, so this one is 1 7/8 inches. And then I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to kind of get an eyeball of about how long I want it. I don't know how long that is. It's just that long. Okay, and then I'm going to take my glue stick, put it down the middle of the fabric, and slap her down. And if you want to get fancy, you can get fancy, but it's only a week to Christmas, people. It's only a week. We don't have time to mess around. Glue stick glues fabric to card. Yep, surely does. Now, I wouldn't trust it forever, but it works as long as I need it to hold it till I get it stitched, because the stitching is what's going to hold it. Stitching is what's going to hold it for good. Okay, so this is slightly less than 2 inches, but it's more than an inch and 7/8. See, that's why you don't pay any attention to measurements. That's why you don't do math. Because why should you? Yeah. Yeah, you know that journal page that I did, that I showed you just a little bit ago. Sorry, I can't get a hold of it. This journal page that I showed you, all of these little circles, because this one is 1, 2, 3, 4. Some of them are stacks of 5. Some of them are 3s. Those were all glue sticked. I used a glue stick to stick the circles together, just a teeny little dab in the middle, and they dried before I stitched through it. So, like I said, I will stitch through glue stick, but it's not my favorite thing to do. It does kind of gum up your needle a little bit. Yep, quick and easy temporary hold. That is correct. Okay, so let's see. Oh, this one will work. Okay, perfect. Perfect. So 1 3/4 inches, looks like that's going to be maybe just a skidge past 1 3/4 inches. My blade cuts better one direction than the other. Do you guys find that? I don't know. Hey, Sandy. So I'm just framing around the edge with black. Now you could you use some other color of cardstock? Absolutely. I just think that black sets these off really well, and so that's why I use black. It's only 2:10 and look, we're halfway through the project. Well, not quite, but you know, we're getting there. Okay. Good enough. Moving on. That is my motto. Good enough. Moving on. You know who taught me that motto? My son. He has taught me many things. He's helped me get over perfectionism. It's highly overrated. You can't do it enough. Can't do it enough times to be perfect. That's what he says. I think he's right. Children come into your lives, whether you give birth to them or you become friends with them or whatever. Children become friends with you, come into your life to teach you. I am convinced. He's taught me far more than I ever taught him. Let me tell you that. Ella says she has this trimmer, which was calling some ridiculous name a minute ago. And she said for her it cuts better starting at the top. And well, it does for me too. Yeah, so I'm glad I'm not the only one. Okay, maybe 2 inches. Let's see. Maybe just a little bit less. Now, you can be much more careful. Oh, there's my phone. I forgot to take it off the hook. I apologize for that. There's one thing I know about phones. If you leave them alone, they will stop ringing. They will stop ringing. If you ignore them long enough, they will stop. We had something wrong with our phone line a couple weeks ago. It was so full of static. I don't know what had happened to it. Anyway, it was so full of static that even the spammers could not get through. It was such a blessed vacation from the spam. Now, I'm on every no-call list that you can get on, believe me. And I still get all kinds of telephone spam. Irritates the ever-living stew out of me. Let's just say that. Because I could say something way worse. Anyway, I didn't even know anything was wrong with our phone until it had been strangely silent for several days. And I happened to pick it up because nobody ever calls on our house phone. I happened to pick it up and I went, oh, this isn't right. It was crazy. You can get the shingles trying to be perfect. Ella, that needs to go in Dee Dee's Wingnut book. Somebody needs to remember to tell Dee Dee to add that. Dee Dee is Inkwell on Ustream and YouTube. Somebody needs to remind Dee Dee to put that in the Wingnuts book. You can get the shingles trying to be perfect. Yeah, CB. Bye, Vicky. Good to see you. I got to write that down. That was too funny. I've got to tell Dee Dee to put that in the Wingnuts book. You can get the shingles trying to be perfect. Ella. Oh, Ella, that was great. Okay. Yeah, exactly, Sophia. They do that. It's crazy. It's crazy, I'm telling you. Irritates the stuffing out of me. You can be on every no-call list there is. Doesn't do any good. In fact, I think it just makes it worse. But that, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I know. I figured, Ella. Yeah, Inkwell, or Inkywell, depending on where she is. Dee Dee has this book that she calls the Wingnuts book. And every time somebody says something funny, she'll stop what she's doing, streaming, and she will write it in the Wingnuts book. Now, the funniest part about the Wingnuts book is not what is in the Wingnuts book. It's when you go back, because she's done it a couple times, she'll go back and she'll read what people said. And half the time you go, it's not even funny now. What was funny about that? It's like, what was so funny about that? And we all go, I don't know, but it was really funny at the time. Perfectionism stresses you out, therefore shingles. Yep. Or a myriad of other things, too. Yeah. When I was involved as a caregiver, which we talked about last week, when I was involved as a caregiver and in the aftermath, I absolutely shot my immune system. And some of you may remember a couple years ago, I got sick and I could not get well. It's one of those things. If you shoot your immune system in the foot, you're in big trouble. And stress will just make toast out of your immune system. So I'm still rebuilding my immune system, and I have been working on it for the last 2 years. And if you don't have a strong immune system, that's problematic. Okay, we got 3 more to go. These are looking pretty. If I never do another thing to them, they're looking pretty good. Okay, 2 inches. 2 inches will be fine. My sweet granddaughter called me today. She is out of town. And she called this morning, and she never calls on the phone. She always texts. That is the hardest darn word to say. Sends me text messages, let's just say that. Or she sends me Snapchats. Now, I love getting Snapchats from her because they're a lot of fun. Whoops. I'm not good at Snapchat. Quite honestly, I'm Snapchat challenged. Yes, I hate to admit that, but I am. I am Snapchat challenged. But I can watch them. Anyway, she likes Snapchat. And she insisted I get on Snapchat, so I did. And so she sends me Snapchats periodically, which are really funny. They're just little bitty short videos most of the time. Okay, too short. Go to a different piece. Anyway, so, whoops. Put my mouse right off the screen and killed my picture for a second. So she called me today, and she never calls, so it always surprises me a little bit, gives me a little bit of pause when she calls, because I never know, it's like that thing inside of you that goes, hope nothing's wrong. It's one of those. And she said, no, I was just calling to see how you are and what are you doing and so forth. Such a sweetheart. She is in Alabama right now. So she is where it's warm and beautiful, and she's having a good time. Yeah, things like that can do it, Sue, for sure. For sure. Ella says, Barb, is your tree up yet? Well, it depends on what you mean by up. My tree is up from the lower level. It's here in the studio, so it's up in that regard. Is it up as in on a table or whatever and decorated? No. It's not. Hi, Sherry. I have to tell you that I spend so much of the year doing Christmas because of Santa Clauses. And many of you know about the Santa Clauses that we do. I spend so much of my year, because it is several months, that once I go through the big push of getting everything done for the Santa Clauses, you know, to be real honest, I'm kind of over it. Because it's like I've put all of my Christmas spirit into those Santa Clauses. And I'm kind of like, oh, now I got to decorate a tree? Are you kidding me? So, yeah. I'll get it done. I'll get it done. I'm waiting for the brownies to come by. Those same brownies that are going to clean my house, CB. I figured if they're cleaning my house, at least they could do is put up the tree, don't you think? Hi, Tim. Okay, so here are our choices at the moment. So we have all of these. These are all jelly print fabrics that I did. And I ripped pieces off so that they are organic in shape, meaning that they're fringy, ravelly. Okay? Oh, thanks, Sue. Sue says she loves our Santas. We still have some. And maybe I won't have to paint any next year. You think? You think I'd be that lucky? Okay. All right, let me move stuff out of my way here. I'm going to set up my sewing machine. Yes, yes, you get to watch me sew today. Okay, so watch me get this set up because I got to stitch. Yeah, they do. They are quick. I mean, they are quick. If you have the fabric done, if you have the components done, you know, they are quick to do. Okay, what did I miss? Ella's decorating hers today. Oh, I thought it was CB that was decorating today. Ella says she's decorating hers today. Ella, I thought you'd have your tree up 2 weeks ago or more. Who else? CB wishes the brownies would come to her house and take down the tree. I bought a different tree this year. I wanted just a little one. I think it's 3 feet tall. I've gone through the phase of decorating 9 million trees. I mean, there was a point in time where we had trees in multiple rooms in our house. And, I mean, complete with trains, you know, in some of the trees, like a little teeny N-scale train in the tree. I mean, it was fun. It was gorgeous. You know, we built Christmas villages. We did all kinds of things like that, you know, and it was beautiful. We used to entertain some little bit. I finally smartened up and said, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not doing that. Okay. Get this over here where you can see it. Okay. All right, so what I have on my machine is I have silky 100% cotton thread in the top and the bottom, and I'm just going to stitch. Now, I'm not going to be too particular about this. I'm just going to stitch. Say hi to my hubby, please. He's sitting here. Hey, Lynn's hubby, how are ya? I would call you by name, but I don't know your name. But hey, thanks for watching. Sandy Chick's tree went up right after Halloween, comes down right after Boxing Day. Sandy, God bless you. I'm telling you. Jan's gets in her kittens that would take the tree down in a few minutes. That's a good idea, Jan. Hi, Carol. Mr. Lynn. We're going to call him Mr. Lynn. Okay. And Sue says, I think all the Christmas visitors should help clean the house before they leave. That's good. Okay. So when I'm stitching on, let's see if I can put me in the shot here. See. Look at that. I can talk to you while I show you what I'm doing. Ta-da. Okay. Except I have to scoot over a little bit and put the handle down so you don't have to look at the handle. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm not going to be too persnickety about how I stitch this. Well, happy birthday, Mr. Marion. That is great. We have a Miss Marion or a Mrs. Marion here also. So we have two Marions present. That's wonderful. Happy birthday. That's great. I feel honored that you would spend your birthday here with me. Yeah. What a way to spend the day. Okay. So I'm going to stitch around here. Now, when you're stitching with paper or cardstock, like this is cardstock, I lengthened my stitch length. So I have my normal stitch length is 2.5, which means it's 2.5. The stitch length is 2.5 millimeters. I'm going to lengthen it to 3 or just a shade over 3, which means the stitch length is now 3 millimeters. So you'd think it wouldn't make a big difference, but it does. Yeah. That's good, Sandy. Okay. So you won't, I have to scoot over in front of my machine, so I might as well just get me out of the shot because you won't see me anyway. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to start at whatever I think is the top. It'll be the top now. And I'm going to just stitch. And I need my knee lift, which operates my presser foot, because then I can keep my hands on my work. Okay? So, if you guys have any questions, put them in big old caps. And pray we don't run out of bobbin thread. Because then I'll have to stop and wind the bobbin. Oh well. Okay, and what I'm going to do up here where the thread tails are is I'm going to stitch over that by a few stitches, and that way I can just come in here and just clip off the threads and be done with it, and it's all stitched together. Okay, and this is overlapped up here at the top. All right. One down, 50 million more to go. So if you get bored with this process, take a break because I'm going to be stitching for a few minutes here. A nice thing about the paint on the fabric is that it stiffens the fabric, so it makes it easier to stitch on top of, along with the cardstock. Now, if you screw up like I just did, which I doubt if you can, maybe you can see it here, I didn't quite manage to stitch right on top of the same stitching. My way of remedying that is to get my tacky glue, because the stitching will come undone, start raveling, and that irritates the stuffing out of me. So I just put a wee bit of tacky glue on the thread ends and set it aside and let it dry. And that's how I take care of that. Because I'm not stitching at exactly the perfect angle here. The sacrifices I make for you guys, I'm telling you. Much better that time. And you want to use, I say this every time, but it is the truth, you want to use tiny little scissors at your sewing machine. Do not use scissors like this at your sewing machine, ever, because you will whack it into your machine and you will scar up your machine. And some of the very expensive machines that are out there today, the light bulbs are incredibly expensive and you don't want to do that. Okay, question, what size needle do you use for sewing these bookmarks? I think this is probably a 70 or an 80, which is, a 70 is a 10, an 80 is a 12. If I was paying super careful attention and it was something that I really needed to be careful about, I would use the smallest needle possible, which would still be strong enough. It would be strong enough to go through the materials I'm going through, but it will pierce the smallest hole that I could possibly pierce. And for this, it would be a 70. 70/10. If there's one needle that is smaller, which is a 60, but that is not a good needle for this kind of thing. That is a needle used for silk and handkerchief linen and things like that. So this is either a 70 or an 80 because those are my go-to needles that I put in pretty much all the time. Although the last class I did for HowToGetCreative.com was all about needles, and I do have a huge assortment of needles, both for machine sewing and hand sewing, because you got to have the right needle for the job. It's not as picky when it comes to paper. The main thing you want to do with paper or cardstock when you're sewing on those is you want to make sure that you have your stitch length, the stitch length needs to be a little bit longer than normal so that you don't pierce the holes so close together. If you pierce holes very close together, it will do is it actually perforates the paper to the point that it will come apart. So you want a longer stitch length. That is actually more important than the size of the needle. Look at me talking and sewing. Okay, let's see. Did I miss anything else? Check the chat for a minute. You got a lag with the sound and what I'm doing. God bless the lag. Oh, funny. Okay, I'm just checking the chat here for a second. And Debbie has a cheap Smurf machine. Well, that must be interesting. Yes, needles make all the difference in the world for the right job. When you are sewing. Here's what my son says, okay? This is another bit of son wisdom. S-O-N wisdom. You gotta have the right tool for the job. You have to have that, because if you don't have the right tool for the job, you're just making your life miserably hard. You know, you gotta have the right thing for the right job. Now, if there are times when it doesn't matter, who cares? But if it's something you really care about, then take the time, you know, to get the right thing. Okay, back to work. Oops, get the right camera here. Okay. So you can see that my hands, pardon me, my hands stay on my work, but the presser foot goes up and down. I'm operating that with my knee. Which makes it is a huge time saver. Unless I have to stop and make some fine-tuning adjustment. You always want to clip your threads as you go. It's one of the things I've been trying to teach my granddaughter, because she's real good about just, you know, pulling it out and cutting a thread, and I'll go back and cut it, you know, trim up the threads later. And you really want to do it as you go. You'll get a much neater finished product if you trim the threads as you sew, not wait till the end. That's one of the things you need to do when you sew. The other one is to press as you sew. Press with an iron. Press seams open or to one side. You get a much better finished look if you do that. Now, the reason I can get away with stitching over the same holes a second time with the paper, like I was showing you up here at the top where I've overstitched on top of the first stitching, the reason I can get away with that is because there is fabric involved. You prefer, no, the knee lift only operates the presser foot. It does not operate the machine motor. So this does not make it go. This is only, the knee lift is only making the presser foot go up and down. My machine is being operated by a foot pedal on the floor. Now I have an old Singer And it is one of those, it's in a cabinet, and the foot pedal is also in the cabinet, and it has a knee lift that when I push the knee lift, it pushes against the foot pedal and makes the machine go. So I know what you're talking about. But two different things. But I'm sure with the lag and the way that the sound is different than what's actually happening, I can see how you would think that I was making the machine go. What the knee lift does is it lets you keep your hands on the work. It's Bernina was the first machine company to have this technology, which is the machine I'm sewing on. And they had the patent on it for years. And then the patent expired, and then every machine company pretty much went for it, and they have a machine somewhere in their line with the or the knee lift that controls the presser foot, because it's such a time saver. Out of bobbin thread. Boo hiss. I thought it was probably a pipe dream to get through all these, but I'm gonna have to stop and wind a bobbin just for a minute. Hey, Gracie. Good to see you. The knee lift is an amazing technology. So, excuse me a moment while I wind a bobbin and re-thread the machine. Yeah, and the go stop button, a lot of people really like that. They have the stop and start button up here on their machine, on the face of their machine, and they really a lot of people really like that. I've never sewn with that myself, but a lot of people really love that. Okay, we got enough thread. We got enough thread. Those of you who are sewers, or maybe you're not a sewer, if you have a bobbin case, an external bobbin case like this, when you put your bobbin into the bobbin case and thread the thread through it, make sure when you turn around and look at it that the bobbin rotates in a clockwise direction. See that little thing going around clockwise? Every machine I've ever seen, I won't say every machine in the world, but every machine I've ever seen that has an external bobbin case like that does exactly that. Also, when you're threading your machine, make absolute certain that your presser foot is up, not down. If your presser foot is down, the thread does not go into the tension discs properly, and you have bad threading, bad tension on your stitch, which is a problem. Okay, rethreaded, ready to go. So on this one, I'm going to have to retrace my steps a little bit because there was no thread. So I stitched from here to there with no thread. So we gotta re-stitch. Which I have to say is not ideal, because again, you weaken the paper by restitching on top of that. But oh well. Maybe this bookmark won't go anyplace. It'll just live with me. That way, if it falls apart, it falls apart for me. Well, Lisa, I used to teach sewing classes, and my favorite class to teach was to teach people how to use their brand new sewing machine. That was my favorite thing. I loved, that was my best classes, or how to use presser feet. And so I learned what things there were that were the common pitfalls for people. And threading is responsible for 90% of issues when sewing. Well, let me say that differently. Threading is responsible for 90% of the tension problems when sewing. That's what I should have said. We only have 3 more after this one. Yay! And once again, I missed the hole, missed the stitching, so we'll employ the tacky glue trick. So we'll just add a little tacky glue. Just a wee bit, just enough to stop it from unraveling. Rain's never used the stop-go button. Yeah, I don't know whether I'd like it or not. My granddaughter loves it on her machine. Just checking the chat. Sandy says, yes, that's right. My tension rises with sewing in direct proportion. That's funny, Sandy. Very funny. I'm always amazed when people say that they've never sewn or they don't know anything about sewing, just because I've done it all my life. I must be really getting tired because because I'm not hitting the holes. That's sad, Barb. That's sad. Tacky glue to the rescue. Two more to go. One more after this one. And you'll notice that every time I'm going to clip the threads, I've raised the presser foot as high as it will go, because when you do that, that is what releases the tension from the thread. So you either have to put your hand back here and raise the presser foot, or I use my knee to raise it as high as it will go to release the tension off the thread so that I can pull it through the needle. If I try to pull the thread while the foot's down, if I try to pull the thread, it won't pull. So just another little tip for you. Rain says she used to design and make her own clothes. Very simply designed, but they were fun. Cool. Well, no, I slept fine last night, but I went to bed late, and Muppet, bless her little heart, woke us up at 6:30. And great, she was sure somebody was doing something really bad. And she was sounding the alarm, and she has never ever done that before. So that was at 6:30, and so I didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night. I think a nap's calling my name. Okay, we are done with the stitching portion of this show. All right, thread machine can go away. I don't recommend putting your sewing machine on the floor. However, that's where it has to live when I'm using it out here for you guys. I begged my mom to sew. Begged and begged and begged. And I finally got to start sewing when I was probably about 5 or 6. I loved sewing. Wanted to know how to do it from the very get-go. That's right. Ella lets all her elves have naps, so they're more fun to work with. Good thinking. Good thinking right there. Okay, so what I have here now is, I don't know if we'll get these all done today, but, you know, I'll make a couple of them anyway so you can see the process. The next thing I got to do is I've got to punch a hole. So, I gotta find my hole punch here. All right, so let's see. Hair in my mouth. Excuse me. Okay, this is a power punch, a We Are Memory Keepers power punch. I think this one will work and fine for this. What I do is I just pull that assembly out, this little gizmo here, because that gives me complete vision of the hole. And so I'm going to turn these around because I'm going to put the double stitching at the top of my bookmark. Okay, and sometimes this, and this is probably going to be the case, I'll try cutting it from the other side. But sometimes the fabric doesn't want to cut with the hole punch, and so you got to turn it, you got to clip the rest of it. Let's see if it will work if I do it in reverse with the fabric down. The reason I do it with the fabric up, yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna have to snip the rest of the fabric no matter what. The reason that I like to do it with the fabric side up is because I can center it a little bit better. So I'm just going to punch them and then I'll go back and clean them up. Now, again, if they're not perfectly centered, I don't care. So Rain got a children's machine very early. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to keep on hole punching here. Then we'll go back and clean up what we have to clean up. Clip little things here and there. But by taking this plastic assembly out, it just gives you a better visibility for when you're trying to line something up. I didn't know for the longest time that came out. It came out accidentally one time, and I'm like, oop, that's not good. Okay, quit sticking. Yeah, it came out accidentally. Come on, let go. Okay, right here I can see a little thread raveling. It's wanting to come unstitched for whatever reason, so I'm just going to give it a little glue on the back, let it sit, and then I can trim that thread off. Glue is your friend. Now you can also set the depth on this, so you can set the depth so it will go in exactly the same distance from the cardstock, from the end of the cardstock every time. And that's a time saver because then you only have to line it up side to side. Unless you push too hard and then you readjust it. You don't want to do that. Okay, so we got those two. That one. We need this one. And I just gauge it by eye. That's right, Ella, don't want the shingles. That's right. Okay, so then when I'm done, I just close, and this locks. The power punch will lock closed. And then I just put that little guide business. Of course, it's going to be, you got to do it when it's not locked and then lock it closed. Easy peasy. Okay, so we're going to come in here and clip, finish cutting the hole where the fabric didn't want to completely punch out. So the cardstock punches, but the fabric not so much, which is irrelevant when you put the fibers through the hole. It doesn't matter anyway, because that's going to hide, so it doesn't matter. Now you'll see some threads raveling up from the edge. I just pick them off. That's one of the reasons that I tore them, because then those will tear even, or they'll ravel off the edge evenly, which I really like. Lynn has a hot son junior. Well, Lynn, I didn't know there was a hot son junior on the way in the world. So you can just pull the ravelings off And it gives it, in my opinion, it gives it a little more character because you have a little bit of that fringed look. If they don't want to cooperate with you, just give them a little haircut. Hi. Okay, Deb, see you later. Merry Christmas. If you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. I do, so there you go. So that's what I say. Impossible to be politically correct. So I don't try. Okay, so we have all this trash to get rid of. And now I'm ready to put the fibers on. So I have a big old bag of fibers. So I'm going to pull out the ones that I think I'm going to use. And I'm not going to give myself too many choices, because if I give myself too many choices, that's a problem. That is the problem. Okay. I tied myself a knot here, just a minute. Okay. Okay, I'm going to give myself 4 choices. And that's probably enough. Maybe 5. Okay, so here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to decide with the first one how much I need. Okay, so I'm going to give myself, I'm going to decide I want about that much. So how much is that? So let's take a look. And it's roughly 11 inches. Give or take a little bit. Okay, so once I know that, then if I ever lose my little one that I'm using to measure with, I'll go back and grab the ruler and go, yeah, about 11 inches. Remember, it was 11 inches. So I'm going to cut several of these red ones because I like this red. I like textured yarns. I use them for doll hair. I use them for fibers on fiber projects. I use them for needle felting. They do shed and they make a big mess, and so using a lint roller is a great idea. Okay, so we got that. All right, let's go for some of this. Sometimes when I do this, I'm looking for the end of the yarn. Rot's a ruck. All right, where are you? Sometimes I use multiple fibers. Sometimes I only use one. All right, when you can't find the end of the yarn, which this one seems to be hidden. Oh, there it is. Come back. I found you. Where'd you go? There it is. Success. Sometimes I use multiple fibers. It just sort of depends on what mood I'm in. So I'm going to give myself some choices here for the ends of the yarn. So there's that one. Okay, let's see if we're lucky enough to find the end of the yarn on this one. Okay, where are you? There you are. Nope. Faked me out. What I was going to say is when you can't find the end of the yarn, you just make one. Found it. Okay. Okay, so we have those, and let's do some purple ones just because. Because like I said, I like having choices so that I don't have exactly the right number, because if you have exactly the right number, you know what that does. Could give you shingles, right, Ella? Could give you shingles. We don't want to have that. Don't want to have that issue. Okay, so here are my little lovely fibers. Here are my lovely bookmarks. Whoops, there's one I missed cutting the little chad off of. The little hanging chad. Okay, so you need a crochet hook, or I find it easiest to use a crochet hook. We'll turn them around the other way. It'll be easier for you to see. So here is the hole at the top, okay? This particular crochet hook is one that I had from my knitting machine days. So it has a little, it's like a little latch hook. It's not a latch hook tool, but it looks like one in miniature. So I'm going to see if I like this one, which I think I do. Now you can use a regular crochet hook, of course. Pull it through to the front. And I usually end up using my hands more than I do the tool, but I just thought. Wrong way. Duh, I will do it the wrong way every single solitary time. Yep, every single time. I need a bigger hook for this fat yarn. Yeah, that's how I want it, like that. Okay? And then when the ends aren't even, you make them even. If you want multiple threads or multiple fibers in there, you can do that too. All right, so we're just going to set that to the side. Maybe on this one, we'll do these two together. So it's two reds. So I'll come from the back, stick the hook through, pull the yarns through, split the loop open, pull the ends through the loop, and then just snug them down. Now, sometimes, and I will tell you frequently, what I do on this so that I can keep them where I want them. Tacky glue is my friend. I put a little drop of tacky glue in here. And I work that under the loop that pulls down, and then that sets up, and it just makes sure that that's never going to come unthreaded. And with some of these fibers, that is a tendency that they have to come undone. So I just help it and put a little bit of glue. You like my subtle colors? I don't know how subtle they are. Okay, so we have this one, and maybe we'll do, just for fun, we'll put the green one with it. So make yourself a loop, come from the back, pull it, oops, hang on to it. A bigger hook would help, but my bigger hooks are in with behind door number 1. And as we all know, behind door number 1 is where the sponsors are located, and the sponsors are being very good today, and we need to leave them alone. You leave them alone. Okay, a little dab will do ya. Use a pen. The reason I use tacky glue is because it will roll off my hands. Lots of other good glues on the market, but they don't all just roll off your hands. So I should see if that needs to be trimmed, and yes, it does. Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Sherry. I've been there too many times. I know how incredibly difficult that is to deal with. The loss of a pet is just so challenging. Okay, let's use this one. And maybe we'll use this one with it. Okay, pull them through the loop, through the hole, rather. Split the loop, pull the ends through, snug it up. Add a little dab will do ya. Check out the ends. That one doesn't look too bad, so we'll set it aside. Okay, next. I think maybe this one. And maybe we'll put a purple with it just because. Just because we can. Now, this would be a whole lot easier with the bigger hook, but as I said, we don't want to go behind door number 1 at the moment. Not when the sponsors are being quiet. Quiet. Okay. Lots of sunshine coming through the windows today, so they are busy soaking it up. Okay, there's another one. All right, are you bored yet? Are you bored silly yet? Okay. What time is it? 3:14. I am going to have to go here in a little bit, so we're going to put some charms on the ones I have done, and I'll finish the other ones with the fiber later, because I at least want to get some of the charms on so you can see, so we can take a look at them. All right, cap the glue and move all this stuff aside and try to resist the urge to go get the lint roller to clean all this stuff up. Okay, so here are the ones we have with fibers on them. We'll just take the other ones that need to have fibers, which are these. These need to be finished. We'll just set them aside. So we'll just put these out so you can see what they look like. So far, so good. Okay, so we have 6 that are done. Okay, so there they are. Bye, CB. Talk to you later. All right, so let's figure out what charms we want to go where. So I'm going to just spread them out here and then decide what I want to do. Okay, this one has 2 sides to it. And let's see, maybe I'll put that one. Sometimes I like the contrast, just, you know, just big old contrast just because it's fun. Sometimes I like them to look like they just are, like they just blend in. I like that. Okay. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use jump rings, and these are just wire. Thanks, Rain. Thanks, Sherry. Hi, Jan. Thank you. Hi, Mr. Bear. So what I have in here is jump rings that we've made in different sizes of copper wire. So it's different gauges of copper wire. And so it depends on which one goes through the hole as to which one I use. So we are going to figure it out here. Clawsman made these for me. So I used 2 pairs of pliers and twist them backwards and forwards. See, I pull it back, I push 1 plier back. Sorry, I'm trying to get this where you can see it. 1 plier back and pull 1 plier forward. You don't ever take the pliers with a jump ring and spread it side to side. You take a jump ring to open a jump ring, you twist in opposite directions. If you spread it side to side, it's never going to come back the way that you want it to come back. And then I thread it through the hole in the charm and close up the jump ring. Okay, so that has 1. And then I'm going to use a heavier jump ring, heavier wire, just because I have it and I like it. So this is a bigger gauge wire. I'm going to do the same thing with it. Front twist open, put it on the one that's on the charm. I'm going to slip it under the fiber. And it's clearly better if you let all the glue completely dry before you try to do this. Okay. Once you get it under there, then take the pliers and close up your jump ring. Now, if you had lobster claw clasps, you could do those without having to, you know, you could just clip them on. Okay, so there you have a little hanging charm with the 2 jump rings on it. The reason you have to have 2 is because if you just put this one that's attached to the charm underneath the fiber, the charm would be like this. It won't hang straight. So you have to put 2 on there. You have to put 2 in order to get it to hang down. Okay? So there's that one. All right, so we'll set it to the side. Okay, let's do this one next. All right. All right, here we go. All right, this one, this little guy, I have miscellaneous jump rings in here, miscellaneous sizes, so I'm just going to use up what I have. It's time consuming, but you know, and you just wiggle and twist and kind of push the jump ring back together. And these are not soldered. So could they come apart? Well, maybe they could, but you know, it's a bookmark, you know, it's not a jewelry. And I can make this look as awkward as anything doing this. So just so you know, I apologize in advance for making it look awkward. It's not my first art form doing jewelry. I've done jewelry, but it's not my main thing. I'm more of a fiber type person. Okay, so there's that one. Okay, so there's that one. All right, let's see if we can do this one. This one's going to take one of these smaller ones because the hole is smaller. Thanks, Die. I did make the charms. Yeah, I did. These charms are made based on my book, Mandala Melange. So I used the patterns from the book. So the various patterns that I resized and printed them on, they're done with shrink film. Not shrink film, sorry, shrink plastic. So that is the book. I like using my own stuff. I don't have any problem, anything against using other people's art, you know, or not necessarily art, but the stuff you buy, things you buy. You could use Tim Holtz charms. You could use, you know, anything. You could use old jewelry. You could do all kinds of stuff. I just happen to like using my own stuff. Okay, so there's that one. Now, some of these are a little bit rough, and they could use a little bit of filing. Let me get a file here. So, when you file metal, you want to file in one direction. In other words, don't saw back and forth. So if you've got anything that's really rough, you want to file it to smooth it. and close up your jump ring. But this wire, this big heavy wire, is heavy enough you could never do it by hand. Some of them you can manipulate by hand, but the heavy wires you can't. You got to have the pliers to get it. Okay, so there's that one. Okay, we'll do this one. Hey, Jean, you just woke up? Well, welcome to the world, Jean. There's a whole big world going on here while you're sleeping. So once you get your charms and your pieces of stuff going, get the raw materials. It doesn't take too long to get everything put together, right? I mean, we've done a whole slew of bookmarks in, what, an hour or so? And one reason I have to use these big old fat jump rings is because I'm going under big fat fibers, which in this moment is easier to say than it is to do. Anything that has a lot of texture, like this yarn right here that has all this fibrous texture to it, that is much more challenging to get the jump ring under it. Come on, seriously. Why are you being ornery? There we go. Okay, so there's that one. Two more, and then we're done. He comes home on Tuesday. 2 years in a row. I am feeling special. When you start using pliers like this, you just feel like you're just absolutely all thumbs. You know, it's like any other tool. As I continually drop it. It's like any other tool. You gotta keep using it to maintain your dexterity with it. And I am so heavily right-handed that it makes a big difference when I have to depend on my left hand to help with something. Kind of like patting your head and rubbing your stomach. And people who are really good at this are really good at it. And those of us who are not so good at it make it look awkward. I didn't quite get that. Okay, there's that one. One more. Okay, this one I'm going to use, because the hole is closer to the edge, I can just use a heavier jump ring just because it looks fun, just because it's cool. Come on now, cooperate with me. You're the last one, okay? Don't be obstinate. Definitely the heavier wire is more challenging. Well, that jump ring is not cooperating, so we're going to put him back in the box. Put him back in the box and use a different one. I'll wrestle with him another day. Okay, and I think, which way did I have this? I think I had it that way. That's the way it's going to go. Yeah, we went for a number of years without much family around at all. I went from a huge family to a very small family. And then we didn't have anybody here for quite a while. Oh, now that one's not going to work through that little... Yes, it will. Okay, never mind. I thought it wasn't going to go through my jump ring. It did. The holidays are power-packed, emotionally power-packed for many, many people. All right, let's see if you can close up for us here. I think we got it. No, not quite. Almost got it. Almost. Chance has had enough. He has come to the door. I don't know if you guys can hear him, but he's had enough. Such a sweet little voice. There we go. Got it. Okay. So I'll finish the rest of those later. Hi, Claire. All right, let me make some room here because we're going to have to let the sponsors out in a minute. And then we'll take a look at them so you can see them up close. Let me know what you think. See if I did okay job. Whoops, sorry. Pay no attention to the 3 in the chat. Pay no attention. Okay, here's this one. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay. All right, so there's that one. You heard the cat? So did your cat. Of course. You can't miss a Siamese voice. Okay, this was one I already had finished, so you saw that one already. This was the other one I had finished, and so you got to see that one before. All right, here's one we did today. I'm probably 80% sure that we will, Jean, but I'm not guaranteeing it, and I don't know what time. It'll be sometime. Probably in the evening. If all goes well. Here's that one. Thanks, Lynn. Here's that one. And here's the other one that I finished. And then I'll finish the rest of them later. Okay, there you go. So that's a last minute kind of gifty kind of thing if you wanted to try something like that. And, you know, that didn't take a whole long period of time to do, to put them together. It took a while to get the components done, but I've been doing those for a while. So, you know, I often have stuff like that on hand. When I run out of my own stuff, then I just sit down and make some more. Take some more time and make some more. Thanks, Sandy. Okay, we better let the you-know-whos come out, because you know what happens if we don't. It gets ugly. They know how long, their time limit is this amount of time. Yeah. He comes out talking. That cat was probably born talking. Yeah. Was it terrible in there? Was it just terrible? Were you abused? Were you abused? I tell ya, you were just being in there, just being abused. Everybody was ignoring you, and it was terrible. It was a terrible situation. Yeah, it was a terrible situation. You gonna get up here and say hello to everybody? All right, jump up there. Whew. It's a lot of work to wrangle these cats. Let me tell you, it's a lot of work. Bet you didn't know that part of what you got to see here was cat wrangling, right? Thanks, Sue. You like the green? Thanks. Are you coming up too? He's talking to me all about it down here. Yeah, he has to come up here too, because if he doesn't get to come up here, he's feeling pretty left out. Yeah, you got to lie down. You got to scooch back and lay down. There you go. There you go. All right. Well, I hope that you guys have a wonderful holiday. If the holidays are a difficult time for you, then, you know, do something completely different than you've ever done before. One of the things that we did one year when we needed to do something radically different as we went to the movies. We'd never done that before. I know a lot of people do. We'd never gone to the movie on Christmas, and that just started a whole new tradition, which we love doing. So, and lots of other people go to the movies too on Christmas. So, I'm just saying, if you have difficulty around this time of year, then do something different. You know, make a new tradition. Just do something different. Okay, somebody's at my door. I gotta go. I will see you all hopefully next week. Okay? Have a good one, everybody, and I will see you next time. Hopefully next Thursday.